To get the adrenaline up in tech, you need something that will be disruptive and will get to mega growth. Okay, this has now the potential of that mega growth, and that's why I'm spending, my energy there. And the results are starting to come in. So the adrenaline is flowing. And then, that's like the best feeling in the world because it gets you're addicted to it.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with C-Tech. I appreciate very much your time and for spending this time with me. You are such an interesting, persona in the tech ecosystem. The different things that you've done are quite remarkable, from being a president of a division within Amdocs to chief business officer at our media, Radcom, Teridion today, with amazing investment arms behind you. I'm really excited to unfold your journey and your story in the communication space. I obviously know how meaningful the space is from my own experience, especially from a cyber perspective. But I'm excited to understand what it means to be in the space today. And so thank you again for being here, Yaron. Tell me a little bit about your connection to the space. What got you in here and what hooked you that this is going to be the vertical that you're going to be spending most of your time on?
So, I'm an industrial engineer by profession. Okay, so I think keyword is engineer, information technology. Most of my career from, let's say, the age of 30, so after a longer military service like some of us Israelis do, and myself in tech as well, I went and started a career in Amdocs around telecom. That's where I got exposed to telecom and communication, and we went through back then the various wireless launches and changes, 2G, 3G, smartphones, 4G, LTE, etc. I saw a lot of it go, and the changes that went through the telecom industry when I took over Radcom, virtualization of network, how things that we couldn't fathom in, let's say, the beginning of 2000, of how things can be done by software, got me really, I think, excited about the potential of how you can do real heavy lifting in communications using software. And this is already the second company that we're doing it. The first one being Radcom, which is still doing it in a very heavy lifting space, and Teridion is doing it for enterprise communication, which in the past used to be, still is to some extent, the industry of routers and lines and cables that you see in offices, and we took a very disruptive approach that we can do everything with software. And I'm a software guy, and this got me hooked on this of how you can really disrupt an entire space with software, and how, basically, because we're doing it with software, you don't need huge supply chain, you don't need to produce routers, you don't need to go through what companies needed to to be in the path of being a company that serves enterprise customers, works with telcos. You need to be a huge company like a Cisco, like, other companies that were there before, but huge companies today. A software company do need, it's a little bit more than being in a garage and, a couple of people just creating software. You do need some rigor and you reach some critical mass, but taking that software, you can disrupt the world of communication with the way that, the maturity of software clouds, the processing power of a lot of the capabilities out there. Very exciting times in my mind.
And so if you're looking at where we're at today, what do you see, and specifically looking into your company today? Tell me a little bit about the actual product. I imagine that a lot of the different people here on, listening here are probably not as familiar with the space. I certainly am not as familiar as I'd like to be. I'd love to learn a little bit more about Teridion and what actually you're doing.
Sure. So the way that I would describe us in like an elevator pitch or like a tagline, think of us as a network as a service, okay? Now, networking is to some extent broad, right? You can have like wireless networks, you can have wired networks, you have access, you have your DSL line or your broadband line at home, you have your broadband line in the office. We're looking at the segment of enterprise connectivity. So when I'm saying enterprise, let's think of a big, for the sake of the example, automotive company. It has hundreds of sites, I don't know, BMW, General Motors, one of those that has hundreds of sites worldwide, has tens of thousands of employees worldwide, and has information systems, has manufacturing systems. You need to connect all of these together. You need to connect the sites to the workloads, the software, okay? You need to connect people that are working, whether they're working in the sites or, today everybody's like working at least part-time remote into this entire setup. What we do is we connect everything but the access, okay? So if you have a big enterprise, each site is connected to the internet. What we're doing is connecting all the sites together, okay? And making sure that they have high performance SLA, telco grade connectivity between their sites, from the sites to the data centers. Today, a lot of the data centers are like virtual data centers in the cloud, whether it's just like software like Salesforce or whatever, but there's also other types, different clouds. And we connect all of that for a high performance network. So when the people of BMW, in the sake of our example, log in and connect to their systems, they're getting a consistent high performance type of experience, whether IT is running a huge backup of their system or a salesperson is now quoting something to a customer and, the entire full spectrum of applications. So think of us as creating the connections between all these hundreds of sites and providing the customer an SLA, and we're doing it without any physical transport. Everything that we're doing is virtual, and I can explain that, how that works, because that's like the part of the secret sauce.
And so right before we get to there, I imagine that throughout your career, you transitioned. You've had a hand in the physicalness, in the physical world, and then and transitioning also to the virtual world. Tell me a little bit about that transition from your point of view, because we growing up, Generation Z, we grow into a cloud-based world. I learned that there exists such a thing as on-prem when I was in the Army, right? And even then we started fixing that as well. But I've been pretty much on AWS and GCP since I'm 15. So since that I learned how to write code, so tell me a little bit about your own experience from your own eyes.
They're treating me a little bit as an historian with my gray hair. I appreciate it, but it's okay. A lot of my career was in information technology, huge systems. Okay, from looking at, let's say, the years 2000 and onward. Let's look at 2005. As some sort of a point in time. Okay, you would deploy. There was no cloud. Okay, you would deploy applications in a data center. Okay, when you go into a data center, I worked in Amdocs. Those are huge data centers. So think of the system that does billing for AT&T. Okay, it's part of my responsibility. You go and I don't think anybody knows what it is today, but you go through Superdomes, HP Superdomes, which weren't that big physically, okay, but were huge processing machines. And you needed to have the knowledge to access those machines, to first of all, get the machine installed on the ground, okay, because you've ran out of capacity. So customer went and increased their volume, let's say, because they were selling to more subscribers. You need more systems. You order servers, okay, they'd come. Somebody needs to connect them to electricity, to communications, wire them and put them in racks and connect them. So there was a lot of data center activity around that. And then you had the fun of deploying software on it, which you need to install system and then various application layers that also have matured in time. You probably don't know what like middleware is. Okay, there was a lot of how to scale this entire like web world and online world and real-time transactions. There was a lot of layers of software that needed to work together. And guess what? They didn't work so well together. So as the world matured, part of the simplification that the big clouds give us is the ability to develop software, large-scale software, and not deal with that complexity from the bottom of the stack, almost from the chipset, all the way up to the application layer. And today, people just deal with the application layer, and a lot of the, below the application layer is abstracted. So, virtual machines, container world, all that didn't exist. And we needed to find, solutions that did similar things and got the application to scale, but it was, required hundreds and sometimes thousands of people to work on it.
Wow. Okay. So now transitioning back to the virtualization that you're doing today.
So so I think just to tie into what you just touched on, you think that the world went through a revolution that, like you said, you grew into it. I experienced it, of taking applications to the cloud. This wasn't applications that existed weren't that easy, and new applications, maybe, a lot of startups created new applications in the cloud. But today you can get, an entire development approach, entire application layer, and of course the scalability that is required from a cloud. And you can take an application and scale it, scale it indefinitely or exponentially, or scale it to huge volume. Okay, and that revolution today we take for granted. In communications, that revolution didn't exist. We need all the time. We're consuming more and more communications, right? We feel it as people. We usually feel it on the mobile device, but we also feel it at home, right? We upgraded our internet again and again and again, and everybody's connected to Wi-Fi. And if you look like 5-6 years ago, we weren't streaming that much. Today, we're consuming everything in video and streaming. You take it also to the enterprise world. The enterprises are consuming more applications. A lot of the stuff is being done in video. Excuse me. So So the needs are high. And that world has been a physical world, still is a physical world to some extent. You need more communication. You call the telephone company and you ask for a bigger line. You call them again and you ask for a bigger line. Okay. And what we basically did is, when we're dealing with the connections between, in an enterprise world, we created our own network. It's a huge virtual network. We tapped into this is like a huge thing. We tapped not into the 3 cloud providers that everybody knows, let's say 4 or 5 that people are very advanced. We tapped into 25 different cloud providers. And now I'll challenge you, but if you can quote for me 25 different cloud providers, quote even 15, then I'm buying you dinner, okay? No one knows. I need to look it up. I don't remember them by heart, but tapping into 25 different providers, the Google, the Microsoft, but all the way to Oracle, IBM, the Chinese ones, local ones that have a global presence, lower tiers, give us a full global network where we're taking software, which is basically our routers, and deploying them across all these vast data centers. And we're doing all that with automation. So basically, a press of a button. The moment that when all of that's already deployed, then we can manage a global network in almost every location. I would say every location on the planet that has a data center, and connect businesses. You know, again, we launched, you can think of other use cases, not businesses, but we're focused now on enterprise businesses, where we can serve those enterprises and connect all of their needs, workloads, the sites, the people across those data centers. And we're using connections that are not available for the regular public. So you and I, you know, in general, are using internet connections, just regular internet, which is free, okay? We're using combination of internet connections and cloud connections. So think of that, think of us that we're opening up new tollways, okay, that are not open to the public, that are not open to enterprises. The moment that you have a tollway, then, you know, you have the experience of a tollway. You pay a little bit, okay, but no traffic, everything is, moving at the fast speeds like you'd expect a tollway to do. That's basically what we do, with very unique technology and a very unique business model.
Amazing. Wow. So, sounds amazing, and sounds like an amazing journey. And we're only scratching the surface with the world that you're in. But I'd love to spend the last minute, asking you, the most important question is, as far as I'm concerned, of why I do this show, which is, why are you so excited about what you're doing? You've been an executive at an amazing company like Amdocs. You've been in different organizations. You were the CEO of a public company with hundreds of people. Why start another company? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you working so hard?
So I think the key here is that the potential of doing a huge disruption is coupled with mega growth. Okay, and the pace, I'm a fast-paced individual. Okay, I've been around the block, but I look at my hobbies. It's mountain biking, it's enduro motorcycles, it's ski, it's things that get the adrenaline up. And to get the adrenaline up in tech, you need something that will be disruptive and will get to mega growth. Okay, this has the potential of that mega growth, and that's why I'm spending, my energy there. And the results are starting to come in. So the adrenaline is flowing, and then that's like the best feeling in the world, because it gets you're addicted to it. That's why I do what I do.
Yaron, thank you so much. This was such a fun conversation. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time and the different things that you've done. And we just scratched the surface, but definitely leaving me more curious than we started. So thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. We enjoyed it too, of course.
And best of luck with Teridion.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Michael.